Rain slammed violently against the black windows of the Han estate, while blood slowly dripped across the marble floor. The most feared man in Seoul was dying. Joon-Seo, the cold and untouchable mafia boss who controlled luxury hotels, underground businesses, and some of the most powerful people in Korea, lay unconscious beside the staircase with a knife wound dangerously close to his heart. His bodyguards stood frozen in panic because the ambulance would never arrive in time. And then, she did something nobody expected. Maliya, the quiet African caretaker who had only worked in the mansion for 3 weeks, rushed through the terrified guards, dropped to her knees beside him, and pressed her lips against his to force air back into his lungs after he stopped breathing. For one terrifying second, the entire mansion went silent. Then suddenly, the dying mafia boss opened his eyes, and the first thing he saw was her face. But what happens next changes everything. If you love Korean billionaire romance and mafia love stories like this, subscribe now to @Physial_Threads and turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. Nobody in the Han mansion respected Maliya when she first arrived. To them, she was simply another desperate worker looking for survival in Seoul. Quiet, invisible, replaceable. But what they didn't know was that Maliya carried pain deeper than most people in that mansion could ever imagine. She had spent years moving from one exhausting job to another while caring for her younger sister from afar. Life had taught her how to survive disappointment silently. She learned early that kindness often came with conditions, and love could disappear without warning. Still, despite everything, she remained gentle. That gentleness would soon become the one thing Joon-Seo couldn't escape. The Han estate itself felt more like a fortress than a home. Armed guards stood outside every entrance. Luxury cars lined the enormous courtyard. Servants whispered instead of speaking normally because fear lived inside those walls. And at the center of all that power was Joon-Seo. Tall, cold, dangerously handsome. A man whose presence alone made rooms go silent. He rarely smiled, rarely trusted anyone. And after losing his mother years earlier under mysterious circumstances, he stopped allowing people close to him emotionally. Rumors about him spread everywhere. Some called him ruthless. Some called him heartless. Others believed he was incapable of love. Maliya believed none of it. Because the first time she saw him, she saw sadness before danger. But this decision would soon backfire. The first official meeting between them was terrible. Maliya accidentally entered the private library while delivering tea late at night. Joon-Seo sat alone near the fireplace reading documents while a bruise darkened his knuckles. The moment he looked up, tension filled the room. "You entered without permission," he said coldly. His voice carried enough authority to make most people shake instantly. Maliya lowered her gaze respectfully. "I'm sorry. I didn't know anyone was here. You should learn." The words hit sharply. Most workers immediately avoided eye contact around him after moments like this. But Maliya quietly walked forward anyway and placed the tea carefully beside him. Then she noticed blood staining the edge of his sleeve. Without thinking, she spoke. "You're hurt." Joon-Seo's eyes darkened instantly. That single sentence crossed boundaries nobody else dared approach. "It's none of your business." Maliya nodded softly. "Okay." And then she turned to leave. But before she reached the door, his voice stopped her. "Why aren't you afraid of me?" The question surprised even him. Maliya hesitated before answering honestly. "Because people who are truly dangerous usually enjoy seeing fear. You look tired instead." For the first time in years, Joon-Seo found himself speechless. And that terrified him more than any enemy ever had. Meanwhile, danger was already approaching. Outside the mansion walls, powerful business rivals were quietly planning to destroy Joon-Seo from within. Betrayal surrounded him, though he didn't realize how close it already was. And unfortunately for Maliya, her life was about to become deeply connected to his. The following days became strangely tense. Everywhere Joon-Seo went, he noticed her. In the garden watering flowers, helping elderly staff members, reading quietly during lunch breaks. Unlike others, she never tried to impress him or gain his attention. That alone made her different. One evening, the mansion lost electricity during a severe thunderstorm. Panic spread through the servants while backup systems struggled to activate. Maliya carried candles through the dark hallway when suddenly lightning illuminated a figure standing near the balcony. Joon-Seo. Alone again. Rain soaked the glass behind him while the city lights flickered below. "You should rest," Maliya said carefully. "I don't sleep much." She noticed the exhaustion beneath his calm expression. "You'll destroy yourself if you continue like this." He almost laughed. Nobody spoke to him this way. Not his employees. Not his allies. Not even his closest men. Yet somehow this woman continued speaking to him like he was human instead of untouchable. "Why do you care?" he asked quietly. Maliya looked at him for a moment. "Because nobody should carry everything alone." Those words stayed inside his mind long after she walked away. But what she didn't know was that Joon-Seo had already started protecting her silently. One afternoon, another servant insulted Maliya harshly in the kitchen, accusing her of trying to gain special attention from the boss. Unfortunately for everyone involved, Joon-Seo overheard everything. The room froze when he entered. Without raising his voice, he looked directly at the servant. "Apologize." The woman trembled immediately. "Sir, I didn't mean." "Apologize." She did. And after she hurried away in humiliation, Maliya stared at him in confusion. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did." His answer came instantly. That moment changed something between them. For the first time, Maliya realized the terrifying Mafia boss hidden behind headlines was actually someone deeply lonely. And for the first time in years, Joon-Seo started looking forward to seeing someone. Days slowly turned into weeks. Their connection deepened through small moments nobody else noticed. Late-night conversations in the library, quiet dinners after everyone slept, tiny smiles hidden between serious discussions. Maliya learned that Joon-Seo loved classical music but never listened to it publicly because his father once mocked him for it. One night, he discovered her drawing alone in the garden pavilion. "You drew this?" he asked softly. Maliya quickly tried hiding the sketchbook. "It's embarrassing." But he gently took it before she could. The portrait stunned him. It was him. Not the feared Mafia boss. Not the powerful CEO. Just him. Tired eyes. Silent sadness. Loneliness. "You see too much," he whispered. Maliya looked nervous. "I'm sorry." But instead of anger, something unexpected appeared in his expression. Relief. Because for the first time in years, someone finally saw him correctly. Meanwhile, another problem was quietly growing. Joon-Seo's closest business partner, Chairman Min, began noticing the emotional shift in him. The cold and calculating Mafia boss who once trusted nobody now softened whenever Maliya appeared nearby. And men like Chairman Min considered love dangerous, especially for powerful people. One evening during a formal dinner event, wealthy elites gathered inside the Han mansion. Maliya worked silently alongside other staff members while cameras flashed around important guests. "You should know your place," Yura said while examining her coldly. "People like you confuse kindness with importance." The room became awkwardly silent. Maliya lowered her gaze, trying to avoid conflict. But suddenly a chair scraped loudly across the floor. Joon-Seo stood. Everyone froze instantly. He walked directly toward Maliya before calmly removing his expensive suit jacket and placing it around her shoulders. Then he turned toward Yura. "If she leaves this room uncomfortable," he said coldly, "you'll never enter another Han event again." The atmosphere completely shattered. Nobody had ever seen Kang Joon-Seo defend someone emotionally before, especially not like this. And from that moment onward, rumors exploded everywhere. But what nobody realized was that Joon-Seo himself had already fallen far deeper than rumors could explain. That same night, Maliya confronted him privately. "You shouldn't have embarrassed her. You're making people misunderstand us." Joon-Seo stepped closer slowly. "And what exactly are they misunderstanding?" Her heartbeat instantly betrayed her. Because deep down, she already knew. The tension between them had become impossible to ignore. But this decision would soon backfire. Days later, Joon-Seo suddenly disappeared for almost 24 hours. No calls. No messages. No explanation. Maliya tried pretending she wasn't worried, but anxiety slowly consumed her. Then finally, near midnight, the mansion gates opened. Joon-Seo stepped out of the car injured. Blood stained his shirt. His bodyguards looked terrified. Maliya rushed toward him immediately. "What happened?" "I'm fine." He clearly wasn't. She followed him upstairs despite protests from security, then carefully treated his injuries herself. As she cleaned the cuts across his shoulder, silence filled the room. Then suddenly he grabbed her wrist gently. "Why do you look like you were crying?" Maliya froze. "Because she had. I thought something happened to you," she admitted quietly. Joon-Seo stared at her for several seconds. Then slowly, he pulled her closer. The space between them disappeared completely. "You shouldn't worry about someone like me," he whispered. "Why?" "Because my life destroys people." Maliya's eyes softened painfully. "Maybe you only believe that because nobody stayed long enough to prove otherwise." And then, for the first time in years, Joon-Seo kissed someone with tenderness instead of control. Soft, careful, almost afraid. The kiss changed everything. But what they didn't know was that Chairman Min had already started preparing betrayal behind the scenes. He believed Maliya weakened Joon-Seo emotionally, and weak leaders became easy to destroy. Meanwhile, danger was already approaching. The change in Joon-Seo became impossible to hide. The terrifying Mafia boss who once terrified entire rooms now quietly waited for Maliya during breakfast. He listened when she spoke. He remembered small details about her favorite flowers and the songs she hummed unconsciously while cleaning. And worst of all, for his enemies, he had become protective, dangerously protective. One rainy evening, Maliya developed a high fever after working outside too long. She insisted she was fine, but Joon-Seo personally carried her upstairs despite the shocked expressions surrounding them. Even his most loyal guards exchanged stunned glances. Their boss had never cared for anyone like this. Not openly, not emotionally, not at all. Throughout the entire night, he remained beside her bed. When she woke up weekly hours later, she found him asleep in the chair beside her. For a moment, she simply stared at him. Without the cold expression, without the expensive suits, without the terrifying reputation, he looked heartbreakingly human. And unfortunately, that made loving him even more dangerous. Because love inside powerful worlds always came with consequences. The next morning, Maliya overheard two staff members whispering cruel rumors about her relationship with Joon-Seo. She trapped him emotionally. She's probably using him for money. She'll disappear once she gets what she wants. The words hurt more than she expected. Not because they were true, but because deep down, she feared becoming another weakness in his life. That evening, she avoided him completely. Joon-Seo noticed instantly. When he finally found her standing alone near the greenhouse, frustration filled his voice. "Why are you avoiding me?" "I'm not. You haven't looked at me once today." Maliya stayed silent. Then finally she spoke softly. "Your world and mine are too different." Joon-Seo stepped closer immediately. "I don't care. But everyone else does." "I said I don't care." His voice carried unusual emotion now. Raw, desperate even. Because losing her frightened him more than any enemy ever had. "You don't understand," Maliya whispered painfully. "People around you already hate me. Then they can hate you from far away." Her eyes widened slightly. That answer came too quickly, too honestly. And for the first time, she realized Joon-Seo truly meant every protective action toward her. But what happens next changes everything. Chairman Min finally made his move. One evening during an important business gathering, confidential financial files suddenly leaked online, damaging several powerful partnerships connected to Joon-Seo. The media exploded instantly. Enemies circled like sharks. And somehow, evidence pointed toward Maliya. Someone had planted fake security footage showing her near restricted offices. The mansion turned cold overnight. Staff members stared at her differently. Whispers followed her everywhere. Even trusted guards looked uncertain. Maliya felt her heart shatter. Because despite her innocence, she knew how these worlds worked. Trust disappeared quickly, especially around powerful men. But what she didn't know was that Joon-Seo never doubted her for even 1 second. Not once. When his executives demanded Maliya be removed from the mansion immediately, Joon-Seo calmly stood from his chair during the emergency meeting. Then he said something nobody expected. "If anyone touches her," he said coldly, "they answer to me." Silence swallowed the room instantly. Chairman Min watched carefully. "You're risking everything over one woman," he warned. Joon-Seo's expression darkened. "No," he replied quietly. "I'm protecting the only honest person in this entire room." That single sentence changed the power balance completely. And Chairman Min realized something terrifying. Maliya was no longer simply important to Joon-Seo. She had become irreplaceable. Meanwhile, Maliya herself felt devastated. She confronted Joon-Seo later that night. You shouldn't defend me blindly. I'm not blind. You could lose everything. His eyes locked onto hers intensely, then let it burn. The emotion in his voice nearly broke her completely. Because for the first time in her life, someone chose her without hesitation. But this decision would soon backfire. Days later, Chairman Min secretly revealed the truth himself during a private confrontation with Maliya. He admitted framing her intentionally. You changed him, he said coldly. He stopped thinking like a leader. Maliya felt sick. You destroyed innocent people just because he fell in love? Chairman Min smiled faintly. Love makes powerful men weak. That night, Maliya made the most painful decision of her life. She left the mansion. Without warning. Without goodbye. Without explaining anything. Only one handwritten letter remained inside Joon-Seo's room. By the time he found it, she was already gone. The letter nearly destroyed him. Not because she stopped loving him, but because every sentence revealed she left to protect him. You deserve peace, she wrote. And I don't want to become the reason your world collapses. For the first time in years, Joon-Seo completely lost control emotionally. The mansion itself changed after her disappearance. The warmth disappeared. The silence became unbearable. He stopped attending events, stopped sleeping, stopped pretending he was unaffected. And everyone around him realized something terrifying. The feared Mafia boss was suffering badly. Meanwhile, Maliya quietly started rebuilding her life elsewhere, working inside a small flower shop far from Seoul's elite world. But despite the distance, her heart remained trapped with him. Every song reminded her of him. Every rainy night reminded her of the mansion. Every quiet moment reminded her of the way he looked at her like she mattered. And what she didn't know was, Joon-Seo had been searching for her every single day. Months passed. Then one evening, while closing the flower shop, Maliya suddenly heard a familiar, deep voice behind her. You really thought I'd stop looking? Her entire body froze instantly. Slowly, she turned around. Joon-Seo stood there beneath the rain. Exhausted. Thinner. But still looking at her like she was the only person in the world. Tears filled her eyes immediately. You shouldn't be here. I belong wherever you are. Her composure shattered completely. Before she could respond, he stepped closer carefully. I spent my whole life surrounded by people who feared me, he whispered. You were the first person who ever cared whether I was hurting. Maliya cried silently now. And you left. I was trying to protect you. I never asked for protection. The pain in his voice felt unbearable. Then finally, he revealed the truth. Chairman Min had been exposed and removed permanently after evidence surfaced proving the betrayal. Everything had been cleared. Maliya's innocence restored. But none of it mattered to Joon-Seo anymore. Because without her, his world felt empty. You saved my life twice, he said softly. Maliya looked confused. The first time was when you kissed me back to life. Then his expression softened painfully. The second time was when you taught me how to feel human again. And finally, after months of heartbreak, longing, and emotional pain, Maliya kissed him again. This time not to save his life, but because she loved him completely. The rain poured around them while he held her like he never intended to let go again. And honestly, he never did. Months later, the Han mansion transformed into something entirely different. Warmer, alive, peaceful. Maliya's laughter now echoed through hallways once filled with fear. Joon-Seo smiled more often. The staff no longer feared him the same way, because love had changed him slowly, not by force, but by healing the parts of him nobody else could reach. And whenever anyone dared disrespect Maliya, the entire mansion already knew the consequences. Because the once cold Korean Mafia boss who nearly died that rainy night now refused to let anyone touch the woman who brought him back to life. Ending analysis. This story reminds us that love can heal even the most broken hearts. True love goes beyond status, wealth, fear, and power. Maliya taught Joon-Seo that vulnerability is not weakness, while Joon-Seo showed Maliya what it feels like to be chosen completely without conditions. Their story proves that sometimes the strongest people are simply those brave enough to love honestly after surviving pain. If you made it this far, let us know where you're watching from and comment your favorite moment below, like this video, and subscribe to _Threads for more emotional Mafia love stories.